guys, it's your girl Sierra. Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a April recap. I don't know why I had to look off to the side. Like I don't know what month it is. Technically I really don't, because time is passing by way too fast and I don't know what to do with myself. So this month I actually read a lot more books than I had in any single month so far. So this one is probably going to be as quick as possible because I'm going to shock you guys right now. Give me a drum roll. I read 14 books. I know, right? That was a lot. It's a lot of books. I have my iPad right here, which is why I'm looking down because I got to scroll. But we're going to start off with the books. And with each book, obviously, with each book I'm going to give, obviously, the title, author, the rating, and then 2 things that I like. So we can keep this moving because otherwise this will be a long-ass video and we don't have time for that. So the first off is Wisteria. It is the third book, sorry. It's the 3rd book in the Belladonna trilogy by Adeline Grace. I rated it 4 stars. And I would say 2 things that stood out to me was the twist from the ending of the 2nd one going into the 3rd one. If you know, you know. That was an interesting twist. I preferred it over like a supposed love triangle, so I like that. And the second thing was the beginning scene, actually, the wedding, and trying to like really decipher what was happening. And as they were leaving was how everything transformed. I had to read it over and over again to really try to like picture it, but it sounded cool as hell. So I gave that one 4 stars. Next one is Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Sambury, and I rated this one 4.75 stars. I listened it to on audio. Oh, that's what I should also do. Tell you how I read the book / listened to it. Wisteria was through my Kindle, through the Libby app. The Delicious Monsters was audio. A lot of them are audiobooks, which is why there are 14 books. But rated it 4.75 stars, and the 2 things that stood out to me about this book, I would say would be the kind of like the subplot, the podcast part, because a lot of mystery, true crime stories kind of like that have that podcast element in it. But I liked how the character from the podcast tied into the main story. So I found that interesting. It wasn't just like, oh, someone found the case and then they're doing it. It's like they kind of have a connection to the house based off of her interactions with her mother and how that has turned out. And the second thing that stood out to me was really the ending, really. The twist of the situation, and then the main character and how she, I don't want to give it away, but like, you know, how this other character kind of like just boop, disappeared or whatever. I'm not gonna tell you what happens, but that ending was very interesting. It kind of reminded me of like one of the Lifetime movies I used to watch, but a lot better. Next up on the list is, unlocking my iPad as I do so, is The Black Queen by Jumada Emil. I listened it to on the Audible app, which by the way I canceled because I use the Libby app more than anything and I just get audiobooks that way. I rated it 5 stars. The one thing though, before I go into my favorite things about the book, the one thing that did get on my last nerve was the narrator. I swear. And it wasn't because my speed was on 1.5. Even at the normal level, just like at the normal 1, the narrator was like breathing, and it was kind of getting on my nerves. Like literally every few sentences you just hear. At first I didn't know if that was part of the story to kind of like up the ante and the mystery of it, but no, it was just the narrator, and so that pissed me off. But I somehow got through the book because I was just like, just focus, girl, just read the book, and then from now on, whenever that narrator pops up, we're just gonna have to read the physical copy of the book, or Kindle version, or the physical version of the book, because if that narrator is on it, I am not gonna read the book. I'm just not. If you know, you know. But the 2 things that I did like about the book was the style of writing. I really liked it. It kind of reminded me of like Farida Abike Yemide when she wrote Ace of Spades. It kind of reminded me of that one, but also as now like looking back, it kind of reminds me of Tiffany D. Jackson, that kind of style of writing. I really like it. And the second thing that I really liked was the very beginning. It was so obvious from the start. Like, if you didn't clock that from the beginning, I don't know what to tell you. But literally, I think it was like the first 2 paragraphs that they were reading. It was pretty obvious. I was like, I know where this is going. It's about to get real messy. But the twist, I didn't expect it, but at least the setup for it, it completely made sense. Next up on the list is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. And this one was recommended to me by one of my friends over on Bookstagram. And this is the first in a trilogy. I think it is a trilogy or a series. Do your own research. By Kimberly Lemming. I rated this 4.5 stars. And I would say it was a pretty good read. It was interesting. And I read this through my Kindle. It was a quick read. It's only 277 pages, so it doesn't take all that long to get to the story. And it's very action-packed, so that's one of the things I say I would like about it. It's very action-packed, so it wasn't like dragging on. And the second thing I liked was the actual fantasy element of it. And I don't read a lot of fantasy books. And the fantasy books that I do read, y'all know me, I read more of like the magic system, and it doesn't have to do with like werewolves, vampires. I don't read all that extra. I just need witches. But this one was interesting because we have a demon, which, I mean, it's in my realm, so of course I would like that part. But then there's like a dragon, and other creatures too. So you would think that I wouldn't like it, but it was actually pretty good. And I think this is a series, so I might get into some more of Kimberly's books, maybe down the line. But y'all know me, I don't have that much commitment to when it comes to like a series. I barely have commitment to a trilogy, which is shocking that I got through all of Belladonna's books. Anyway, moving on. Next up is Always the Baker by B-Love. And I read this on my Kindle. I already had it on there. This is from like way back when we had like the 99 cents and free books. So I was like downloading a whole bunch of Black romance books because that's what I do. This one is a short story, so it's 185 pages. It was really cute. I really liked it. The things I say I would like about it are, well, I mean, obviously the cover of the book just looks fire. The woman on the cover is fine as hell. I don't know if that's supposed to be like what the main character is supposed to look like, but hot. And the second thing I liked, I would say, is the mural scene. Once you read it, you'll figure it out. If you have read it, then you know what I'm talking about. But the mural scene, I feel like that would be really cool to see. Like, I could picture it and see it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds really cool. As someone who does like art, I'm not good at it, but as someone who does like art, I appreciated it. It sounded really cool. Next up is Should Have Been by Alexandria House. And I read this on my Kindle. This was not on my Kindle. This was actually through audiobook on the Libby app. I gotta fix that if I can. If not, whatever. Then my stats will just be a little off on Storygraph. But I rated it 4.5 stars, obviously, because I love Alexandria House. I'm trying to get through her backlog. I have maybe like 10 more books to go. And the thing is, they're nowhere else. They're not on the Libby app. I have to get it through Audible or get the physical copy. I'm leaning to more just getting the physical copy because I gotta reduce my subscriptions because, oh Lord, shit is expensive. Anyway, the two things I really liked about Should Have Been, I would say the first one is, I would say the dynamic between the love interest and his friends, because it's a second chance romance and his friends are very much like, yeah, we know. It's very obvious you're still in love with her, so I don't know why we're playing these games. And the second thing I would say is just everyone's support towards them. Like, they understood like the reasons why they got divorced, and the history between the main character and the love interest was very, very jarring. I wouldn't say a lot of trauma, but there was trauma there. But everyone around them was just very supportive. They're like, yeah, we understand y'all divorcing, but yet at the same time, they couldn't stop. Like, they couldn't get over each other. They were like, why don't y'all just get back together? Like, shut up already at that point. But not like in a rude way, but they were just like, okay, yeah, we get it. Keep it moving. Okay, next one is Sanctuary, a noir immortal story by Alexandria House. Again, I listened to audiobook on the Libby app, and I rated this 4 stars. And the 2 things I liked about this story, I would say, is what the main character does to the love interest, because I'm not going to tell you. At the moment, it made a lot of sense why she did that. I thought she was literally just going to like, pew. Nah. This girl took it to another level, which makes sense because how he did her dirty was not good, obviously. And it's kind of giving, if y'all have ever seen Help, I'm in a Secret Relationship on MTV with Travis and Ronnie as the host, the episode where one of the guys claimed to be an African king. It's giving that energy. I'm just gonna say that now. It's giving that energy, but the love interest in the story, it makes more sense than the guy claiming to be an African king. I'm just gonna tell y'all that. And the second thing I would say I liked about it was the imagery. It was really good imagery. I would love to see it like in a short film. I just think it would be really cool. You have to read it to understand it. I'm not gonna give that much detail. So next up is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. I'm saying Kluwer because what is it? Cleaver? I'm close enough. Anyway, I listened to it on Audible and I rated it 4.5 stars. And I've heard people talk about this story before, so I'm not gonna get like into detail, but the 2 things that stood out to me was, well, the 2 things that stood out to me, 2 things that I liked was, one was the ending. It took me a minute to understand the ending, but then when you know what the book is kind of got inspiration from, I think it got inspiration from one of the freaking, I think it's like Haunting of Hill House. I think that's where they got the inspiration from. Yeah, I think it was like one of those shows. I think it was one of Mike Flanagan's shows. It's got an inspiration from, and I love Mike Flanagan shows on Netflix, so absolutely love them. So the ending was very interesting, and I kind of take it as like alternate endings, but even though it all took place in one time, but still it gave that, and I liked it. The second thing I liked was, I would say the second thing that I liked was the very beginning. The very beginning before the people came over into the house, because once they came over and this girl just couldn't get them to leave, she pissed me off. But I mean, we wouldn't have a story without it, but still, like, girl, get a backbone. This is your house. Like, that's just weird. Anyway, next book is Holding. It is the second book in the St. Louis Sires is it a trilogy series? I'm going with trilogy by Alexandria House. If you can't notice a pattern here. I listened to it on, I think it was through audiobook on the Libby app, and I rated it 4 stars. And this one was pretty good too. I think I'm mixing up the stories. It should have been. I think they were both second chance romance books. Sorry, I think I mixed up the 2 stories, but I think they were both second chance romance. But the 2 things that I liked about Holding was, one, they had a pet iguana chameleon. So that I found that was cute. It wasn't just like, oh, like a dog is like a unique animal for a couple. And they called the reptile their son. And the second thing that I liked was, oh God. I just like the dialogue. Alexandria House just writes really good dialogue, and the characters stand out. Like, you can tell, like, okay, that's a separate character talking. Even when it's like their friends talking to them, or like a family member talking to them, it's like everyone has a distinct voice, and I absolutely appreciate that. But that's also thanks to the narrator too. So next up is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I listened it through audiobook on the Libby app, and I rated it 4.5 stars. This one was really good too as well. The 2 things that stood out to me would have to be Um, the twist, I mean, obviously the twist is going to stand out, but the twist, it reminded me of the movie The Boy, the first one. It reminded me of that. I was like, this is literally The Boy. Like, that's literally what I got from it. And the second thing I liked was how the main character and the sister kind of like reconnected because, and connected again because the main character, oh, she a mess. She's been through it. Like, she runs track, or she used to run track, and then got in a situation. And so from the situation, everyone is very like has strained relationships with her, and it's clearly her fault. I'm just gonna be quite honest. Not with the stepfather. That's a 50-50 street for both of them. But with her and the sister, I'm glad how they kind of made up, even though it was a very like dramatic situation going on, because that little girl was going through it. I still don't like her, but whatever. Next up is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson as well. Listening to audiobook, rated at 4.5 stars. This one was a heavy book. Again, I don't know why I do heavy books. I don't know why I read such heavy books all the damn time. Someone needs to come here and like slap me so I can just read like peppy stories for like the rest of the year. It's probably not gonna work, but you can at least try. The two things that I really liked about this story was, I would say, even though it is such a heavy book, I would say the other person involved, because throughout the story you get back and forth between like the past and the present situation. So not even like dual timeline, because it's all within like the span of like a year or so. But the other character involved that everyone's trying to look for, how that person connects to the story. I knew it. I was like, I already know how this is connected. I already know how she's connected. Like, this is exactly what's gonna happen. I already know it. And the second thing I liked was how the main character got back into doing music. So I'm not really giving it away, the story, because you're gonna read it, but it does end on a somewhat happier note. So I'm glad the main character goes back to music regardless of what she has been through. Whew, Lordy. All right. Next one is The White Guy Dies First by Terry J. Benton Walker. This is an anthology of different short stories by different authors. Listened to audiobook, rated at 5 stars. Fantastic. Absolutely loved it. And I can't say two things that I loved about the book, but I will say two stories that I really liked in this anthology. I really liked the Chinese restaurant story. That one was really good. I mean, all of them were really good. All of them were so freaking good. And the narrators were good too, except for one, and it was the girl that read The Black Queen. She narrated one of the stories towards the end, and I had a stomach ache because I only had like 15 minutes left. And I was like, oh my God, just get through. There's one story, then you can move on to the next story, and she won't be there. Like, I was literally fighting myself on it. So the Chinese restaurant story. And then the other one I would say is oh my God. This one's a little bit harder. I'm gonna go with the friend group that was preparing for prom. I forgot the title of the stories, but if you read the books, if you read the stories, and you know which ones I'm talking about. But they were all really good. The narrators were really good, minus her. She was the only one that got on my nerves. So now I just have to keep an eye out for her name because I can't do it. Next up is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson, also through audiobook, rated at 4.5 stars. I did a Fix It Friday video on this one. It should be up, or it should be coming up in the next week or so. I forgot when I scheduled it. You'll see it when you see it. And the two things I liked about the story was another heavy one. So it's hard to find things that like, oh my God, I really like this part, because it's a heavy story, but everything is so good about the story. The first one that I liked about it was I would say how Kenny checked Jules, because it needed to be done. It took him a minute, but he finally got there. I also liked how I forgot her main character's name, Maddie. I liked how Maddie stood up to her dad towards the end of the story. Gruesome, but valid, completely valid. Okay, and last one on the list is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Kweke Emezi. Listening to an audiobook, I rated it 4.75 stars. And two things that stand out to me in this book, I would say, is the shared trauma, really. The shared trauma, and not in the sense of like the shared trauma is what brought them together, but just the fact that as humans, a lot of us have experienced trauma, depression, or loss of, a lot of grief. And from that time of grief, from that time of loss, you find other people who are connected to you that way, and you do form, romantic relationships with them. And it's not based off of like shared trauma, but it's like a shared understanding of what it's like to go through that. And obviously, because they experienced their own lives of navigating life after that, and just coming out a little bit healed at the end of it. Even though you don't forget, you still have like positive memories with them, and you have more of an understanding of yourself and how that grief carries with you. So they're both very mature characters. So we're gonna get that straight. Very mature characters who have dealt with loss and grief. So I really liked how they connected from that, not because of it, but from it. And the second thing I liked was our main character checking old dude towards the end of the story. I wanted her to slap him, to be quite honest. Like, I feel like he deserved a slap or a punch instead of all of the talking that they were doing outside of whatever building it was. That's just me. I might choose a little bit of violence every now and then. But those are all the books that I read for April. I know it was a lot. So if you're interested in these books, those books will be in the description box below. Like the video, comment below a book that you read. If you read any of the books I read, I would love to talk about it, because I need someone to talk to about these books and like have good conversations about them and about these characters, because these characters be wilding, they be tripping. And quite a lot of them get on my nerves. Until next time, stay magical. Bye.